All right, it's May 1st. We're starting the meeting at 7, a little after 7. We've got an agenda here. Marcel, hello. Is there any adjustments to the agenda? Does anyone have anything to add or subtract? Looks like a no. Moving right along, we'll introduce ourselves. I'm Ken Carter, Vice Chair, running the meeting tonight. Bill Irwin is not here.
Nikki Cribb. Tammy Brennan.
Heather Jewett.
Okay, we've got a quorum. That's good. Public comment. Anybody got anything to say before we start with your hearing? I guess not. So we're moving on to number 5, which is Marcel Parents Major Subdivision PUD secondary review. Like, is a green light on? Yeah.
All right. As far as the maps go, there's not a whole lot of major changes from the initial meeting. We tightened everything up because we have final septic designs, final well locations. And that stuff is waiting to go to the state once we get approval here. We do have easement language written up in the deeds, which we've supplied. Basically lots 2, 3, and 4 will have the shared drive rights. And Von Como is the attorney. He only drafted one of those deeds rather than all of them, because the easement language is going to read the same in them. And it talks about the shared drive. That is the easement here. We did for the 0.8 acre parcel, more or less, lot 3. You can read through that if you like. It talks about the shared access and how that's going to be maintained, repaired, and the cost associated with that.
And that's in the deed, right?
It is in the deed. Yep. Yep, and it goes through the different restrictions and everything. I mean, I can read through it all, but it's ultimately something that you guys will have to.
Okay.
To see.
Yeah. We probably will maybe read it later or something.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate goal is for the access to be shared between the 3 lots that are going to be using it, with the understanding that if only one of them is developed, they're responsible for everything until the other ones are developed. That's the main idea behind this.
So say lot 4 gets bought first,
Yeah.
would they only have to build the driveway to that lot?
They would have to build everything to your standards, so they'd have to build it up to that turnaround,
Okay,
but they would only maintain. They would be responsible for maintaining 100% of it at that point. If it's
Okay.
just lot 4.
Okay.
in there.
okay,
Everything past their turnoff access wouldn't be utilized, but because it's part of the permit with the turnaround, that's what needs to go. Just like with the wastewater system, even if only one house goes in, that full wastewater system has to be constructed.
Can you just introduce yourself?
Oh, yes.
For the record.
Yeah, this is Michael Jarvis. I'm the designer and land surveyor working for Marcel. Sorry, apologize for that.
Yeah. Marcel, you want to?
My question is, how long can we keep this if it wasn't sold? Not previous, soon. Is this good for,
I think once it's approved, it's approved.
it's good for,
Ever.
okay,
Yeah, so the permits typically run with the land.
that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything in the bylaws that say if it's not developed in 10 years and it's start over, so. I think
Yeah,
it's-
that's a little concern.
Sure.
For the road maintenance, did that include the county road class 4 part?
So the county road class 4 part, I'm not exactly sure on how. I don't know on how the language could be put into this deed because that's a public right of way. It is, as you said, a class 4 road, so it's not maintained by the town, so it would have to be ultimately maintained by the people utilizing the,
Supposed to be maintained by the
access.
town one season a year.
okay,
So they chose summer.
okay,
So it's gotta be passable in summer.
right.
You know, the town has to make sure that
Yeah.
has to happen.
Is it the full length of that road? Or just where we are?
Any class 4 road supposed to be maintained passable in like a reasonable vehicle. One season a year. So in Vermont, everybody picks summer.
You ever heard of that? That's kind of interesting. Have you ever been on this road?
It is passable
Wow.
in the summer, it's
Yeah, yeah.
passable.
But in the winter, it wouldn't be
I
plowed.
wouldn't, right,
Does that,
If it got washed out, nothing would happen until summer.
Curiosity, have you ever been on this road?
I think I have. done.
Okay, that's,
I've walked it.
yeah, but you probably don't agree with that.
Yeah, we don't actually, but we're close. We're close.
But anyway, just,
Yeah. What, doesn't that road start in Enosburg or?
yeah.
I
the
think that
beginning,
part's class 3, right?
The-
Part of it?
I don't
Not
100% know the answer to that off the top of my head. Whether the Enosburg section is, but yes, as you can see, the town line comes through and hits those monuments, so that first section is in Enosburg.
Is there any, have you looked into any restrictions on that from Enosburg's point of view or anything? Is there anything they could say about this or?
Well, it is still a public access, so I mean, they can say that they may have to upgrade that first section, the 200-foot section that we're going to utilize before this driveway. They could say that that has to be brought up so the emergency vehicles can go through there. I don't think that first section is too bad,
Flat.
because that's where I drove my truck in with the
Yeah,
excavator and stuff, and I was able to turn around, so
Yeah, it's a flat section, you know.
yeah, that first section is very flat.
mhm.
I do not know of any way they could say that he could not come off the public access as long as he meets their regular drive standards.
So, yeah,
Because
they could,
if they tell him he can't come through there, they would ultimately be telling everybody who's down through there that they couldn't,
right.
because he's not technically doing anything in there on their side.
Yeah.
But no, I have not looked into that.
Yeah, might be something just to,
Was that? the
Cross off.
part?
Yes,
would you say it's 200 feet there
it's,
in
yeah,
Enosburg?
it's roughly, well, to the access of our drive from 108 is roughly 200 feet from the paved section, so about 185, 190 feet from the edge of the right of way of 108.
Okay,
So on that road, County Road, from Egypt Road, it's about 1.5 miles of class 3, and then it's class 4 to the Enosburg line. That's all I can see.
sorry, say that again?
From Egypt Road.
Oh, Egypt, okay, yeah.
Like about 1.5 miles
Right.
is class 3, and then it turns to class 4 to the Enosburg line, and I can't see past.
For that section there, yeah, that's 4-wheel drive area pretty much. Starts in Enosburg, 185 feet. So it's, the water, the well share, is that what I'm reading here in the first?
Yeah, so we're trying to minimize the number of holes we're punching in the bedrock, so we're gonna share the well between two houses. For lots 3 and 4 will share a well, and lots 1 and 2 will share a well. Typically, what we do with those is when we drill the well, if you don't hit sufficient water for them to just directly pump, then we'll do a storage and share it through the storage. Putting 2 houses off 1 water supply is not that uncommon anymore, because well drillers are getting harder to get, and they don't want to have every 100 feet have us drilling holes through into the aquifer.
How do you guys do a storage in that case? Like, is it in somebody's house or outside somebody's house or?
Yep, so the storage depends on the amount that we need. In a lot of cases, we'll just drill deeper and the storage will be right in the casing.
well, yeah.
Yep, Other times we will do, I prefer to do an outside underground storage just because it keeps the temperature down and less bacteria grows. Rather than if you have it in your basement, you end up with warmer water typically, which promotes bacteria growth.
Right. Easier to clean when you have to, but
Right, right. Yeah,
yeah, I was just curious because we have issues down around here with the same issue, so was curious as to, because if your water storage, if the amount of water that's coming in isn't pushing it up high enough, you could have it 1,000 feet down and it's not gonna, you have to have that pressure behind it to push it up. The
Yeah.
static, yeah.
yeah, there are cases where we cannot share a well. Typically in those cases, you're looking at less than a half a gallon a minute. For two houses. I mean, if you have a half a gallon a minute and a relatively high static level, less than 100 feet from the surface, we can make it work. If we did get to a case like that, the state does have exceptions where we could switch and go to two individual wells. And obviously, that's not the goal here. The goal is to minimize, but we could do that if we had to.
Okay. That sounds good to me. Sorry.
Yeah, so is there a standard for two houses sharing a well of?
Yeah. So we have a gallons per minute that we have to allocate to each house.
Yeah.
And then there's, so like a standard, I believe we did 4-bedroom houses here. So a standard 4-bedroom house, you'd be looking at 490 gallons a day is what we designed for each house. So you'd say, okay, if this well can produce 490 gallons a day times 2, then it's got enough. But then we got to make sure that if everybody turns their showers on at the same time, we've got enough to support that. So there's a max day demand, an instantaneous peak demand, and then the overall storage. And I am a licensed water designer, but I'm not the one that normally does it. So if I said something a little bit wrong, I apologize, but I believe I got everything right there.
So like back when you said if one person buys a lot
Yes.
and the whole septic design has to go in,
Mhm.
who pays for that whole septic design?
Well, typically that's gonna be a part of the initial development, so. I'm not gonna speak for Marcel in this case, but a lot of times the developer will put in the road and the infrastructure that's gonna be shared. Whether that's gonna happen or Marcel may sell everything to somebody else who's gonna do that, I'm not sure. But before any one of these houses can be done, the whole entire wastewater system will have to be done and the road will have to meet the standards you guys set.
You feel pretty confident you could sell something like this, or? It's unusual for Bakersfield is why I ask, it's.
I have a. Paper
Potential?
paper I just gave you.
Oh, yep.
What's that called?
So this is the grader that you gave me.
That I spoke to about this.
Uh-huh.
And he's a couple of weeks out, which I don't know if this is gonna be on the market because the Hulls want the other. I don't know if you're familiar with what we talked about last time.
Mhm.
They'd love to have this land to keep farming. And a building lot's gonna go with it. And Matt and I, we talked about, price and stuff. And the other 3 lots there. If there's no time zone.
Yeah.
Or
You
be,
may just sit on them.
yeah, it's nothing urgent.
Yeah.
The barn was the issue. You familiar where we're talking about?
Yeah.
A barn, no one wants that, and no one wants the liabilities, and no one wants to pay taxes.
Yeah.
And a man come up and said, I want the barn. I said, you're the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the land, that's. The Hulls are gonna. Maintain, from talking to Matt anyway. They want that land and they gotta have a building lot with it, because that's where it's situated.
Yeah.
No problem, but the other 3 lots there, it's whatever.
Right. You mind explaining the bigger lot there again, just
Yep.
refresh our memories on
Yeah,
that?
so the larger lot, lot 1 It's 36.07 acres. 20.1 acres of that is going to be set aside open space, meaning that no houses can be developed there. Could not be subdivided in any other way. The only uses, and if you look at the deed for lot 4, it outlines this in here. I'll read this portion because it's not super long, and I think it's kind of outlines exactly what this is about. A 20.1 acre portion of lot 1, which. Yes, that's right. A 20.1 portion of lot 1 described as proposed 20.1 acres of open space for agricultural use only on said subdivision plat shall never be used for any purpose except open agricultural land and may not be further used, subdivided, or developed in any manner other than normal agricultural, including non-commercial recreational purposes.
And is that forever or? in
So
perpetuity?
yes, so that's a clause that's in the deed that runs with the deed,
Okay.
with the land forever.
Okay,
Yeah, the only way that could be taken out is if this deed is never executed. So,
One second, do you have these electronically scanned into the system so Heather can see them?
I don't,
Thank you.
no, I don't. Is it nothing gets
So-
sold? And it just stays as one parcel, so the deed.
right, so say Marcel goes and works a contract with Hulls to maintain this for 10-year period. And then you're planning on selling it after that. And then before the end of that 10-year period, Hulls say, okay, we just want to buy it all. They come to an agreement. They could, at that time, say, we're not doing this anymore. We just want to have the vacant land. And these deeds would not be created.
Okay, got it,
And then this subdivision would be void
would be void, and then they could.
because they
subdivide it.
didn't meet the conditions.
Like they could do 220 lots if they wanted, or 410s
Right, without this restriction.
without the restriction.
But if this
Goes through.
goes through, and all the conditions are met and it's transferred.
Yeah.
That's stuck.
That
That's
stays.
there.
Let's take a picture of this real quick so I can send it to her.
sure.
Yeah, follow
Absolutely.
No. So that remaining lot is 16.06.
Yep.
Is there, I'm just curious why you chose that size, because we
We
got 10-acre zoning out there.
Yep, so we wanted to utilize as much of the parcel as we could to not have that restriction on it. So we did the 20.1 to meet the requirements of the PUD. But we didn't want to, these are the only houses that we were planning on doing down there. So we didn't want to take up more of the ag land and the farmland.
Mhm.
It's not to say that this whole 36 acres might stay
Mhm.
ag and farmland. But we
But-
wanted to get these 3 lots and then have the remainder
Right.
one big parcel, and the 20 is what we were required to have.
Oh, okay. But that 20 is gonna remain undeveloped, but the 16,
If
that's gonna have to remain.
if your regulations ever were to change to smaller lot sizes
Okay.
and you don't put a condition in this permit
Uh-huh.
now,
Indeed,
well, in your subdivision approval of the PUD, you could say
that could be.
none of that could be subdivided.
Well, the 20, it can't be regardless,
Correct.
but there's,
Since
the
that's
16.
40, they can
Unless
only
that,
afford-
yeah, unless something happens there before that's.
Yeah.
So
approved.
if you don't put those conditions in there. And say your zoning changes to 2 acres in the next, in the future. There is potential that more lots could be created out.
Out of the 16 acres.
Yes.
right, but
Yeah, if we change the zoning, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So I'm assuming there's gonna be another set of covenants for the homeowners, or is that?
No,
This
so
is it
that's
right here?
included, right? So if you read through these deeds,
Uh-huh.
that, the one for lot 3. Is the one that outlines what the covenants and everything are gonna be, because It has, you know, how the water line is shared, maintenance of the road. How the wastewater is shared.
Right, and the easement so they can fix
It
it.
explains how the easement, yeah,
Has to be put back where it was.
Kind of pretty straightforward, because you,
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to read it yet, so it's,
Yeah, like other than that, I can't think of, you know, unless, I mean, that would be a neighbor thing. Like if you wanted a certain kind of development.
certain, right.
yeah.
I mean, it was written up by someone that's done this previous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, it's, we did approve one years ago and there was a pile of
There-
restrictions and,
yeah, there,
This is a relatively small PUD.
yeah,
You'll get into a lot of larger ones. And you'll have other ones that'll have, instead of having the ag use for the 20 acres, they could do a
Right.
common land and
Right.
that has a lot more.
lot
You
more
can walk your dogs,
restrictions.
you can do this, but you have to do it.
Right,
Yeah.
And they'll also put in, some of them I've seen put in the restrictions on the color of your house and
yeah,
you gotta mow your lawn every
yeah, you can get.
Wednesday, or, you know, you can go as much as you want.
yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen them.
they can require you to have a house certain size.
Right,
You know, they can get really.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
No chicken coops.
exactly.
Yeah.
We tried to keep that to a minimum.
Yeah.
We want to keep the general rural characteristic out here and give people rights in their own lands with condensing the lots down, so that way it's not as big of an impact on the ag land, and that was the whole point behind this is. We could have done 4 10-acre lots out
Right.
here, which would have been detrimental to the ag land. You wouldn't have had any fields left because they'd been wasted land on the back of someone's house. Instead, we're gonna have 3 houses. Yes, we do lose about 2 acres of ag land, but the remaining 36 gets to be used. And that was our goal.
Appreciate that, yeah.
So how would you handle that class 4 road, like that he has to access his road from? Did that play into anything?
You just, it's all in Enosburg, isn't it? That section pretty much
There's a small, so if you can see the line going through there.
kind of crosses right at the
Yeah,
end
right
of
in
the
front of the
driveway there.
driveway, crosses through from Enosburg into Bakersfield.
I mean, we could,
I mean, it's gonna have to be maintained. It's known that it's not maintained by the towns.
yeah,
Other than once in a while.
I'm just thinking for their private snowplow guy,
Mhm.
plow their road, they're gonna be going down a non-plowed.
Well, he's gonna have, yeah, he's gonna have to plow he's gonna have to know that he's going on a class 4 road.
Yeah,
Or he's gonna have to plow into,
that be built into the, like, so. The cost of the plowing is divided by the residents of the road, and that would include that road?
well, if I don't have a way to get to my driveway, I'm gonna have to build and maintain that way to my driveway, so I assume that's part of the road maintenance.
Okay,
That's just an assumption I'm making.
right, I wonder if that needs to be stated though. Do you know? Ken?
Yeah,
I don't know, no, I mean, I think that's because most of that's in Enosburg, it maybe needs to be
Because.
put to them
the
just to see what the they need.
Would have to sign.
but
off.
they're talking about this section of
Uh-huh.
county road right here,
Thing for building.
up to your drive.
I think that probably should be included in
They come out.
in our approval, you know,
Yeah.
like a condition of
What if
approval.
we put a condition in the. I was listening to you guys talk, and Sam was talking to Marcel here. If we put a condition in there that until such time as that portion of road is kept by the towns,
Yeah,
whether it be Bakersfield, Greensburg, it doesn't really matter. But as long as, until such time, it will be the responsibility of
the residents,
the residents utilizing that road.
so that 911 can get in there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And it will, and. I mean. It's gonna need to be brought up to the same standards as the rest of the drive.
Mm.
For that section, right?
Seems like, I mean,
It's a flat going.
It is.
right,
Yeah.
it's easy to, and
Once you surface that area,
You know,
it's already raised,
And that would be.
it's
the
just not
developer-
used much.
That would be the developer's expense.
Yeah. Yeah, because the towns aren't gonna,
Right, right.
I know anything else I've ever done on the class 4, it was the developers who saw.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You say you're gonna have an HOA?
We're not gonna have an HOA
Like
in the deeds, though, there's.
road maintenance and
Right.
easements to the shared wells and the shared septic.
Right.
Other than that, they're not putting really any restrictions because they don't have common land.
Right, it's a common driveway.
That's in the
So,
deed.
and the road coming in and out. Like
Well,
you
that's
said.
what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's what these guys said, it's a class 4 road that isn't maintained in the winter.
So we
Whether
would
it's
just-
Enosburg or.
We would
it's
just put a condition
Bakersfield.
that the developers
Yeah.
would make it.
Well, somebody has to keep the road clear if they're gonna live in there in the winter, because.
Well, that's part of this thing. The condition is that they would have to be able to keep it clear and up to code for an emergency vehicle to get through. And their plow would have to be able to get through, and that would be their defense until that road maybe got bumped up to a stage 3. Stage 3.
How do you wanna make it a class 3 road?
I mean, a class 2. No, they wouldn't as far as at this point, but if this starts
What's your
trending.
Well, I mean, if you.
that-
You would have to, so typical process, if we want to bring a road up to standard, to the town road standards, and then we could petition the town to take it over, that's not what we're proposing in this situation. We're gonna keep it a private drive. And as far as county road, that's already technically a town road, even though it's class 4. So there's nothing we can do other than
Right,
maintain it and upgrade it.
make
because
it
the-
accessible. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We could petition the town to take care of it, but
But they can say no.
they could say no.
We don't take care of any class 4 road. We
No.
make a claim exception. even
Well,
for
we
50
take
foot.
care of it in the summer. It has to be passable. Town's responsible for that.
I'm talking winter.
We
Yeah,
winter
we could
time.
petition to have it upgraded to a class 3 after we bring it up to the class 3 standards.
After they get it all.
Not saying you
fixed.
would have to, as a select board, accept that,
right.
but we could petition.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all we could do.
Mhm.
And basically what they're asking at that point, they've brought it up to code. They're just asking you to plow it
And keep
and keep it up,
up.
keep it up to code.
But that's not what we're.
But that probably won't happen.
Right.
With the select board.
This is not dependent,
Yeah.
that is not dependent on this project. So
Further up the road, there's a bridge and it's all kinds of.
it's a
Yeah,
mess.
yeah, you wouldn't want to go any further.
After that, you're gonna spend some money.
Yeah.
The first 500 to 800 feet are pretty good.
Yeah, it's good going, but then it gets bizarre.
Yeah.
It gets bizarre.
This bridge, it's-
So just, I see you've got the easement for Dennis's water down there. Does he own that little
So
piece or is that?
Yeah, so if you look at the inset on PL1, he owns that area
Okay,
around where the spring is. And then he's got just an easement for the water line going from that across. It
okay,
crosses this and it actually crosses Craig Snow's somewhere and goes to his house.
okay.
When we did,
Does he actually own land over there?
he owns this area here. He does own that, yes.
Don't make no difference.
Okay,
There's a spring there, but.
Yeah, so when they sold that, they excluded this area, so they never sold that.
Yeah, well, you get water, you kind of want it, you know.
Right.
yeah, he was concerned about that when he came in last night. I think he, he was,
Yeah,
he was fine when he left and,
Yeah, I met with him. And we looked at it with Craig Snow because Craig wanted to do something there, so Dennis did show me on that outside of this. Where he thought the water line went through and
There's an easement that goes.
yeah. Is there water, does the water go to the barn from there or?
No.
No.
Drove by.
crosses in front of the barn, kind of through the driveway in the bunk area
Oh, yeah.
and goes to Dennis's house.
There was a letter that Mr. Abbott sent. Did you get that?
Dennis or Dennis Obed or
No,
David?
yeah,
I never saw it.
he was concerned about.
I think, yeah, he lived down there on Paradise Lane for a while, I think, and he was.
Yep.
There was some uproar. Might know something about it, I don't know.
I think one of the concerns on Paradise Lane was that it never was quite finished the way it was presented, but I don't.
Here's the maps.
know exactly. I have the maps.
There's the two.
There's a bigger one. She didn't know where they were, but they're in this much big. There it is.
The letter from Nick. You guys can read this if you want after.
I was wondering if you had Indian artifacts. Haven't quite to that yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's concerned mostly about manure spreading. It seems like that's. There's no recourse for homeowners if they have a problem with manure spreading there and I don't know if, it's part of dairy farming in Vermont, but
Like, can you, what, like maybe require, they could only spread both of those to the residences? And is that not? something-
well, I mean, I don't think they'll be spreading it on their lawn, but
I mean, but this point, little 0.83, that's a tiny piece,
Uh-huh.
if they came right up to it. That would be
You'd notice it.
a stone throw.
well, they're gonna notice it anyway if it's.
Yeah, they wouldn't notice it anyway, but I'm just thinking like right there.
Uh-huh.
Yep, so if you look at the back side of this, you see these squiggly lines that run just behind the lot.
Uh-huh,
Those are contours. And that hill jumps up significantly.
okay,
So
behind
what-
the wall.
Yeah, so what we did is you can see, we tried to follow along that. So there's not gonna be any farming down near
Right there.
on that slope that's there. Plus there's 100-foot setback, an agricultural setback for all drilled wells. So they're not gonna be able to farm within 100 foot of that.
Okay,
And then a difference between this one and Paradise Lane, that Mr. Of it was,
Where's? There's.
it's just outside of town here.
On the right, when
difference
you're leaving
between-
town, there's a bunch of little houses. Yeah.
Yeah. So Paradise Lane is the main access for the ag fields on that subdivision.
oh, okay,
This subdivision here, we will not be sharing that access with the agriculture.
okay,
We're gonna have a completely separate access that the only lot that will be shared with that will be lot one.
lot one.
So none of the other lots will have that.
Did you read this yet?
I have not.
Quite interesting.
Well, that's good, so it basically keeps it down. Lot one, level with lot one and below.
Well, it goes up behind this. I mean, this is all the ag land up here.
Well.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all, this is all hay land up here, so.
Our set aside area is for.
Isn't this contour like a hill,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
stating?
So he's saying that these houses are kind of on the down slope
Right.
of this.
So if you can see here, so 560, 570, 580. So that's 10 feet vertical jump every one of those lines. So you're 40 feet higher up here than you are right here.
So would
50 from
manure
there.
get spread here?
If manure gets spread there,
It would
it'd
go,
be way above you.
but wouldn't it trickle down into well area?
Right, but they're not, it would. If it's within this area, but these are drilled wells,
Okay,
so there's that 100-foot setback.
Yeah, so
okay.
these are, I mean, these are 10.
And this is a fairly small peninsula that's up there.
Yeah, this is probably like 50 feet, if that,
Uh-huh.
and it's probably 200 feet this way, but.
I think that's the place that you have your bonfires.
Yeah.
I mean, your get-togethers and kids go not snowmobiling, but sliding down this hill. It's not.
It's
I don't
not currently
think
being
it's-
maintained.
There's probably half an acre from here to there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really not that much. I mean, maybe, what if we limited the manure spread from here down? That way, nothing would trickle down with that,
I think that's a bad idea.
okay?
There ain't enough land there to make amount to.
All of the land from here this way,
Uh-huh.
goes the opposite direction.
Okay,
It's only here this way
that comes
that
down.
comes down.
Okay,
Yeah, and the goal here is to try to keep as much of it in agriculture as we can.
Mhm.
Whereas the other, the note that you guys had there, their open space was intended for everybody to use. It was a common area. This is not. This is
Right,
meant to be for
right.
agriculture.
This is part of
Yeah.
lot one.
But, and will they know, will this be part of this deed that, about that piece being separate or?
Yes,
Yeah,
I mean, it's on the subdivision plot. It's,
Yeah,
no, there's nothing gonna be hidden about it.
yeah, so they know, they'll, anyone that buys that is gonna know that there's being kept open for agricultural use, so.
right, no, it's be straightforward.
It's in the deed, well, it's in
Yeah.
this deed, which is the 36.1 deed most likely.
And it'll be, and your permit is gonna be,
built
for all
into
the
all
lots.
deeds.
so whenever anybody goes through it, they can see.
Well, we're gonna tell them in advance, you know, this is the story.
Right, it's not, we're not trying to hide. This is
No.
meant to be for agricultural,
Purposes. you know.
right, to keep that in ag as much as possible.
Anybody have any more questions or
No, I think that's great. Can we move to accept?
you make,
into-
you making,
One final review, right?
you making a motion, Heather?
I'm making an emotion and a motion.
So what are we accepting? Just
This,
this
the secondary review, they'll have, to-
Mhm.
rate? And we're
It's-
asking for that provision.
we got the one
for-
condition there that's,
Right.
about the
Find out
road
about
there,
the road.
find out about it, and then that
And it's-
until such time that Enosburg or Bakersfield maintains the county road, it'll be the responsibility of the homeowners to keep that up. Yeah, I guess. I think another condition should be check in with Enosburg if they have any concerns about that road starting on their side, I guess that'd be worth checking into. Because can't really go anywhere if they do, I guess, at this point, right?
Right, yeah, we can check into to Enosburg for the road. And then we can add in that section of the road will be maintained by lots 2 through 4. For their access. Until such time that the towns take it over.
I mean, I guess we could reach out to,
So this is not a question about this project specifically, but kind of, so this thing we keep talking about with the 911 access and having the fire chief, Check. when does that happen?
No, I.
When
I
you
think
apply
once
for a
you-
building permit,
I mean, I think they would want that approved. You probably want the fire department to have kind of approved this plan before you go ahead for your final, right? Or,
Want to know
The,
that they can access it. That's what they're,
yeah, so typically we'll have the fire departments look at, the fire chief will look at the plan. And say, we'd like this change or this change, and that's where,
that turnaround came in.
that's where that turnaround came in.
uh-huh. And that's,
And
I mean,
the
that's,
grading of the road, we shifted, I forgot to talk about that earlier, but we shifted portion of the road down to flatten that grade, so it was all under 8%.
Cool.
smart. And that turnaround's there on lot 3, right? That's the,
That is on, yeah.
that's the hammerhead.
Yep, we get the hammerhead on lot 3, we widen the road on both sides of it, so that way the trucks can.
Yeah.
Park in there, turn around in there.
You see,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
did that answer your question about fire?
Yeah.
Approval or? Has the fire chief seen this yet or?
Another story.
Okay,
No, I think right now, everything that we've gone off is basically from you guys. I know Bill at the first hearing was talking a lot about the road.
uh-huh.
Right, Bill would know too, because he's on the farm. He
Right,
would know
yeah,
what was
Yeah,
needed.
yeah, it's too bad he's not here tonight, but
Yeah, but that's how we came up with what we have
Yeah.
to this point. But
It's all legit. I mean, there's something that you guys have questioned. I mean,
yeah, so
we're
it
more
seems
than
like,
glad to Tell you that if there's something,
Get the answers for them, change what we need to.
yeah, it seems like really the kind of the biggest kind of hurdle right now is just making sure that section in Enosburg is you're on board with that and. Anyone want to second that motion? By Heather moved to accept this proposal with conditions, those two conditions.
I'll second.
Nikki seconds that. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The ayes seem to have it.
So she has to say, Andrew, what states I.
Heather, you need to state your name.
Oh, sorry. Heather Jewett says aye.
Thank you.
I apologize. Sorry.
Nope, it's okay. It's confusing. All right, so thanks for coming in, guys.
Thank you guys very much.
Okay,
Well,
Well
if you go right ahead with this, you hope to be on the next month or anything, or?
I mean, with the. So basically, I've just got to talk to the town of Venusburg and I'll try to talk to the fire chief. But I mean, there's minimal changes for us, so
Okay.
I'd like to get this done, you know. Projects always seem like they drag out. forever.
Right.
so
Now
that,
we're close to the
that
finish
part
line.
about the road, them keeping up the class 4 road, that would go in the deed or where would that go?
I think that should be a condition on your permit.
On the permit, okay. So how would,
Well, it's gonna be, so the permit, that's why I was saying, whenever you get your deed, you know, your title report says you're subject to conditions of this wastewater permit, and this.
okay. the
So,
permit
so
would be
everybody
the deed.
should read through those.
Yeah.
Not that we always do,
Yeah.
but we should read through
But
those
the
and look to see if there's
condition
any
of the permit
conditions.
would be stated in the deed,
Correct,
and then the permit would have the conditions.
correct, yeah.
That deed would refer to, okay.
If it's just that condition and there's no other conditions, then we could possibly add it to right
Mhm.
into the deeds.
Mhm,
But if there's a list of conditions, that's where it's usually easier to say,
Right,
subject to all conditions.
Yeah.
And it eliminates making the mistake of transcribing it incorrectly.
right,
You know, you guys meant
right,
A and we wrote B
right,
in the deed,
Yeah.
you know. Whereas if it just says, you gotta go to this, the
Permit,
conditions in this
refer to
permit.
this,
Yeah.
same permit being referred to.
Right.
Yeah, I guess check in with
I'll
whoever's.
probably check in with Tammy, because she's one I talk to the most,
Yeah,
because I run
Let me
into
know,
her.
and I'll get it warned. You know, if you do, you know, whenever you're ready and.
Yeah, I think we're scheduled for June 5th for the next meeting, so
Okay.
first Monday.
Okay,
Right now, I mean, we'd like to have Bill involved with this one, I think, so if he can't make it for that one, we'll probably try to. Yeah, a lot of times he's kind of got stuff going on, but it will be in June sometime.
It'll be either the first or the third month.
Right.
Because those are the only 2 Mondays open.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you guys very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
How are the gardens?
Wet. Well, I freaking one blow over last night and the wind totally collapsed it.
It was last night. Terrible every weekend.
Yeah. So, you know what?
Did you get it? No.
Yeah.
I don't think, did there, was the minutes from last?
I don't think.
I didn't see them.
Here, I forgot to check, I know, same, you looked but didn't see it, I forgot to check, so.
Yeah,
We can
We can postpone.
table that until.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, we'll postpone the minutes
Review
from,
minutes.
yeah, we'll postpone that until next month,
Because that would have been April minutes.
March, because we didn't meet in April.
Oh, right. I think we're deep in May, but not, you're right.
Yeah, we're really not,
March minutes.
yeah, Brenda's not here tonight, I don't know if she had anything
She
to
said
report.
she's on the road and she wasn't gonna make it.
Okay. So no ZA. Next meeting scheduled for June 5th. Does anyone have any conflicts for that? Heather?
I don't think so. I'll have to look at that, but if I can't make it, that's my birthday, so
Ah,
I'll be turning 25.
What a way to spend your birthday. Kidding commission. Woo!
Be in that club.
Living it up. Well,
Living
we'll,
it up.
we'll tentatively schedule it for June 5th and kind of wait to hear from Bill. So if you want to celebrate your birthday, we might not need you.
Okay,
But if you
that's
want,
good.
but if you want to hear how this turns out, of course.
Right, because this would probably be on that day.
Yeah.
The next
Yeah.
one.
I think that's great. We kind of need more housing in Bakersfield. We need more housing in general, so I think it's nice that they're trying to preserve that agricultural area, but
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we have a motion to adjourn.
Make the motion to adjourn.
Amy, any seconds?
I make the motion to adjourn. I'll second.
All right, all those in favor? Say aye.
Heather Jewett says aye. I'll
Hey.
hopefully be live, maybe not in June, but in July, but my work schedule will change by then, so
All right, good.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
yeah,
it's
no more
easy-
late duty.
It's easier when you're here in some ways, you know.
Yeah, it is.
All right, well, thanks for showing up.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
Night,
Heather.
Heather.
Take care.